Just win me this game. I'm not asking for a crazy performance. I'm not asking us to dominate the ball. All I'm asking for is revenge. So, Tottenham play Man United. Rather, we play Tottenham because the game is all in our hands. It depends on what we do. It depends on our approach. Are we going to go direct at them? Are we going to sit back? Are we going to let them take control of the game? If we give Tottenham control of the game, guys, it might be gone. If we let Van de Ven run through the defense, run through the midfield, like he did against Copenhagen, like he did at Old Trafford last season, guys, let's just call the game off right now. But I think this time the game's not going to go that way. As much as we might think, right? Normally what happens is we play a team like Spurs we're supposed to kind of beat, or a team that we're supposed to have an edge on in some way or the other, and we just fold. How many times have we seen that? Especially when we had a good run going. Right now, yes, we drew against Forest, but still it's 3 wins and a draw. So in our last 4 games, we're unbeaten. With St. Lomans in, especially, we haven't lost. So we would expect that would continue, especially against the Spurs that has just gone and lost to Chelsea, that lost to Villa, that lost to Bournemouth, that drew to even Wolves. And the only team that they beat at home this season is Burnley. Yes, they had a good performance against City, and everybody, including me, thought that might be the new Spurs. But ever since then, they've just been falling down a cliff. Sure, yeah, they beat a Copenhagen. Or Copenhagen we lost to last season, by the way. But we should still consider that their goals mostly come from set pieces. They are becoming a mini Arsenal. So they're not as good as them because they're not defensively astute, but their goals mostly come from set pieces. And we know the one fear that all of us as United fans have is in our team controlling set pieces or even managing set pieces. Yes, we do score a few, but defensively we are very, very weak. Guys, Van de Ven has 6 goals this season. Do you understand? A centre back, not even a left back or right back, a centre back has 6 goals this season. Even Mbomo has only 5. That's all I'll say. And after that goal that he scored against Copenhagen, we know Van de Ven can run. The guy is one of the fastest defenders in the Premier League. He's one of the fastest players in the Premier League. So let's not even talk about the fact that the guy can run through our midfield without any problems. The fact that he has done that against the same team before. He has done that against a midfield with Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes in it. So who's to say that he can't do that again? But the one thing, despite all these potential negatives, there's a reason why I think we might win today. And that has to do with our front 3. Yeah, people might say Sesko had a bad game. Cunha wasn't at his top 100%. But we always have the other guy. He always delivers. Brian Mbomo delivers no matter what. The only game he had a blip in was Chelsea, and even then, it's because of his action that Sanchez got a red card, and if he doesn't get a red card, we don't win that game. So you see how influential Mbomo can be. The guy's first touch is magical. It's something I haven't seen since Rashford, and it's not something many players can replicate. And we have to admire the fact we have a player like Mbomo who thinks first before making a decision. Yeah, Cunha might be a bit more rash because the guy's more flair. He's more to show off. And he is the party piece. He's essentially what Ronaldo was to us before, becoming this efficiency monster. We are going to get a flair player in Cunha. But on the other side, we're getting an efficiency monster in Mbomo. People are not going to like it. But this is essentially Salah on the right wing. That's what we're getting. And on the left, we got one of the main men who's going to be leading Brazil out in the World Cup. Because he's one of the last elements that people say gives any hope for Brazil winning the World Cup next year. But let's talk about this game particularly. We know the players are good. We know the players can perform on their day. And that's what I want to bring back. How likely is it that we see an on-our-day performance for United? Well, judging by everything that we have seen so far, we see that Tottenham like to control possession. So Thomas Frank, even though he relies on set pieces for goals, he's kind of scrambling when it comes to really dominating control over the football match. And if he goes with Palhinha and Bentancur in midfield, instead of starting Sarr, as he probably should, the thing is Palhinha cannot really control a midfield well. Yes, he has the legs. Yes, he can retain possession. But he struggles almost in similar ways where our midfield struggles. And we know if we have a match on both sides, I think we're going to win. Simply because we'll just play this basketball football. That's how we beat Brighton. Because we were just too much for Brighton to handle. And we can do the exact same thing against Spurs. Tell me I'm wrong. Because I know everybody here knows that in your hearts of hearts, even if you want to be pragmatic, if you want to admit that, I'm not so sure about this game, we know if we turn this into a basketball match, we are winning it. It's when other teams try to be more defensive, when they try to be more resolute at the back. That's when we get hit badly. But let's say Spurs try to dominate. Spurs try to push a high line, especially with Van de Ven and Romero. You know that's what they're going to do. When they push a high line and you have Mbomo, Cunha and Sesko coming through, it could be dangerous, especially with Ahmad on the wings with Dorgu. And guys, let me talk about that as well. On the left wing back spot, we don't want Dorgu, right? As much as we might admit that it's probably going to be Dallo there. We don't want Dorgu, we don't want Dallo. What I'm saying is we start Mason Mount. Might sound silly now, Mason Mount. Why Mason Mount there? Simply because the guy's got legs and energy wins you games. In the Premier League, it's not as technical. So we don't need to really prioritize going after technical control of the midfield because yes, we do have that, but more men in the midfield means more likely that we're going to get control. So you put a Mason Mount there instead of a Dallo or a Dogu who give us essentially a net zero. We might as well try to take the game to Tottenham. But we can't counter them. We can't play what we did at Anfield. If we do what we did at Anfield, what we did against Brighton essentially, two different styles, but either of them can go. So the most important thing is the goal number one. If we get the first goal, I think we can take the game away. And I think it's curtains. We might have considered against Forest, but I think in this Spurs game, they don't have the potential to just score unlimited number of goals because that was them last season. But this season, they're a totally different team and we can admit it, right? Last season, they were scoring for fun under Ange. But this season now, they are very much heavily dependent on set pieces and we are bad at set pieces, yes. But does that mean that they're going to score 2-3 set pieces like they did against Everton? Because that was the only game where I saw them really scoring goals for fun. But let's be honest about that. Anybody who's watched the Everton game, you guys know as well. It wasn't like Spurs were completely dominating the midfield, dominating the game, and they had the game pretty much wrapped up. They had the goals because of set pieces, because of set piece errors by Everton. Everton actually scored a goal there, but it was chalked off for offside. Let's say it goes 1-1. Do you think they score 3-1 or 4-1? I don't think so. And this is where we get at Spurs, guys. Xavi Simons has not clicked. Kudus is another danger point, by the way. It's Van de Ven and Kudus. These are the two danger points I'm looking at in the Tottenham team. Because everybody else kind of revolves around these two working. If Van de Ven and Kudus have a bad day or if one of them are injured, then we have a big upper hand. Especially with Kudus. There's news that there could be some niggles with Kudus. So if Kudus is out, the attack is not really something to fear. We still need to fear their backline because offensively and defensively, that's going to be a nightmare, especially for Sesko, who I'm not saying anything bad about Sesko because I think he's a baller, right? He is an insane player and I think he's going to be successful at United hands down. But when it comes to experienced defenders, especially when it comes to Van de Ven and Romero, two of, let's say, the top 10 centre-backs in the Premier League, it's going to be hard for Sesko. And Mbomo and Cunha, well, they'll do their thing. But when Sesko needs to be that focal point, this is going to be a big test to see where is Sesko really at? Where's his level at? He showed at Anfield that he can play. He showed against Brighton that he can play. But now, in another away game, an away game you could say is almost 50-50 at the moment. What can he do there? That's what I'm interested to see. Honestly, Amorim just needs to prioritize midfield again. Because that's how it worked against Liverpool, against Sunderland, against Brighton. Against Forest, we kind of lost our way, which is how we ultimately drew the game. If we go back to prioritizing the midfield, if we go back to a 5-4-1 defensively or a 4-5-1, whichever way you want, we prioritize the midfield and the defense and we have a compact structure, I think we can win this game. That's why my score prediction is Tottenham 1, Man United 2. I think, again, we might nick it, right? It might be 1-1 for long periods of time and then we might nick it at the end just like Liverpool. So what do you guys think? Comment down below and I'll see you on the next one.